Hey, Aidan Booth here, and today we're talking about success and prosperity, something that I think everyone wants to achieve in life. And what you can see here, these are the building blocks of success and prosperity. Okay, there are 6 pieces to the puzzle. I call this the prosperity puzzle, and we've all got these 6 pieces to the puzzle, but some of them sometimes need to be refined. Now, you might find that you're really strong already at one piece of the puzzle, and that might be enough to get you to the finish line, to get you to whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. But I tell you what, it's much, much easier when you've got these 6 different pieces of the puzzle working together. Now, being strong in one, as I say, could get you to the finish line, but being relatively strong or understanding or even just being aware of all 6 of them are going to make your success virtually inevitable. So what are the pieces of the puzzle? Well, we've got tactical up here, and in the case of the K1B0 code, this is the step-by-step modules and videos that you're going through, the implementation. These are the tactics that are going to get you to where you want to get to. The second part is organizational. So organizational is how you approach your business or your day, and there's a lot that we're going to be talking about there. This is also to do with planning and all that side of things. And then we've got ritual. Now, ritual is also a little bit related to organizational, but it's more about your approach, the way you do things, and the habits that you build. And these are really important to seeing success. Then we've got psychological. So psychological is key. This is about the unconscious and the subconscious mind, and how your mind can really be your secret weapon or your biggest enemy, depending on how you use it. There's a lot to discuss here, and we're going to get into lots of detail about how you can set yourself up psychologically to succeed with anything that you want to do in life, really. Then we've got accountable, and accountable also ties in with being ultra committed, and there are different things that we can do to help you be truly accountable to yourself and to be ultra committed to what you're doing in the K1B0 code and any project that you want to set your mind to. And then lastly, we've got physical. Now, physical is all about your body, the fuel that goes into your body, making sure you've got the energy that you need to be able to put a plan into action. Okay, so each one of these things sort of feeds off one another, but when they are together, when they're locked into place, that's really where the magic happens. So this is what we're going to be working through. You're going to get a lot of different videos from me, which are going to drop down into one of these 6 different pieces of the puzzle. And I urge you to follow along, because I know that for some people this is going to be a game changer. If you've felt like in the past you've tried really hard and projects just haven't worked, it may be because you were just weak in one area of the puzzle. So what we're going to be doing is working through all of these 6 pieces of the puzzle, and I'm going to be sharing tips with you about how you can get each one of these pieces of the puzzle working for you. So look, I look forward to getting this content to you, and I look forward to seeing your success. Thanks for listening. Hey, I'm Aidan Booth, and in this video I wanted to give you a little bit of a background just so you know who's talking to you, who's presenting this information to you throughout the series of videos that are going to come here. So I grew up in a very middle class background. I certainly didn't have any idea of the importance of the 6 different pieces of the puzzle when I was growing up. And I was really being trained to get into the workforce and have that regular 9-to-5 day job. But my life took a bit of a change of course when I met my wife. I realized that I wanted to have this geographic freedom, I wanted to have time freedom, I wanted to have financial freedom, and I was only going to be able to do that if I was to build my own business. So that's what I set out to do. And when I was building my own business, it took me down a path of learning a huge amount of everything that I would need to learn to succeed with my business. And I started to become very aware that the strategies and tactics of building a business were never going to be enough to really allow me to do well. They might give me some early success, but they weren't going to be enough to allow me to sustain that success for a long period of time. So I studied, I learnt, I watched people around me, And over time, I sort of built up this understanding of the 6 different pieces of the puzzle that we talk about here in this program. And I think it's really important for you, or for anyone that wants to succeed at anything in life, that you have this awareness about the 6 different pieces of the puzzle, because even just knowing that they exist is going to put you at a benefit. So a lot of people get hung up on the specific tactics and strategies of doing something, and a lot of what we talk about in the examples that I'll give you are specific to building businesses. However, everything that we're talking about here, it's really universal. These are universal building blocks to success and prosperity that you can use in all parts of your life. So look, the videos that I'm going to be filming and the information I'm going to be presenting to you throughout this series, they're often going to be, shot off the cuff. They're going to be out in the elements. I might not have a microphone on. I might be out in the wind. But the point is that you're going to get the secrets that I think are the most important things that you should be aware of in order to put yourself in a position to succeed at anything that you want to do. The video is going to be short snippets. That's for a reason, so you can quickly and easily work through them. And each one is going to have a lesson, and quite often they'll be personal. I'll be sharing examples of things I've done. I've built 6 different multi-million-dollar businesses over the past 10 or 15 years, and I'm going to be sharing a lot about those and about my personal life as well throughout these videos. So look, I really hope that you find them useful. I am adamant that if you work through these, you'll take a lot out of them, and I would love to hear your feedback and your success stories as well. So look, thanks for listening. Dive into the videos, and all the best with any project that you're working on.
Hey, Aidan here, back again, and in this video I want to talk about simplifying. Now, we as humans have a nature of overcomplicating pretty much everything. So a good hack that I use on an almost daily basis is to ask myself when faced with a problem or a process is, what would this look like in its simplest form? Another way that I ask myself this sometimes is, if I just had to finish this off in the next 30 minutes, what would that look like? This can help you with trivial little tasks, like for example, designing a logo. Maybe you're designing a logo and you're getting hung up on, what you think it should look like. Then if you just come back and say, look, I've got 2 minutes to finish this logo, one way or another, I have to finish it. What am I going to do? And just do that. Or maybe you're choosing a product that you might want to sell or something. If you give yourself a time frame and just say, look, if I had to simplify this, dumb it right down, if I just had to get it done, simplify, what would that look like? And again, I think the giving yourself a time frame is a good tip here, because it forces you to get something done. Work tends to extend to fill up the time that you've got available. It's a common trap that a lot of people fall into. I fall into it a lot myself, which is why if you give yourself a time limit and say, look, if this was as simple as it could possibly be, what would it look like, and how could I get it done in the time that I've got available? So hope you find this useful. We'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, Aidan Booth here, and today I'm filming this from on top of the roof deck, the pool deck where I live right now. And in this video I want to emphasize and talk about the importance of visualization. Now, the reason I've come up here to do it is because when I first came to Buenos Aires in 2006, didn't have any money at all. I was drowning in student debt actually, but I had this dream of being able to live in one of these modern, almost like 5-star luxury living facilities, these skyscraper new modern apartment buildings in Buenos Aires. So what I did way back then, 2006, without even really understanding any of these concepts at all, was I would go and have a look in as if I wanted to buy one of these apartments or condos in one of these high apartment buildings. And at the time it was just opening up my mind. It was allowing me to dream, and without even consciously knowing that I was doing it, what I was doing is I was visualizing. Within about, 6 months to a year of that, I was able to buy my first property, which admittedly was not in a 5-star luxury apartment building or anything like that. But then within a few years of that, I was able to start buying the type of property that previously I'd only just dreamt of doing. But if I hadn't had that dream and that idea of being able to buy property like that, then I never would have taken that path. And I was able to get that dream and that vision very clear in my mind by going and actually seeing the type of property that I aspired to one day own. So I think visualization is really important. We're going to talk about it more, and I'm going to give you some strategies that you can use to help you visualize in a way that is going to help you be able to bring these things into your subconsciousness and get you thinking about what's possible, because you can't get something until you can think about it. First you think about something, and then you actually end up being able to get it. And it's about bringing those things that you desire, your dreams, into your consciousness. So I will do more training videos about different techniques and things you can use to visualize. But ultimately it's just being able to use your imagination, build a vivid picture of what you want in your life. And you can use it for anything, business related, personal life related, anything. So just before I finish off, I'll give you a bit of a pan around here. So over that way behind me is the river, and beyond the river is Uruguay. If I come back around this way, you'll see that we've got a swimming pool here. I've also got a swimming pool inside on the first floor, so I've got another swimming pool inside here. And if I just look over here, you can see Buenos Aires goes on and on and on. This is a huge city. I'll just get over here so you can see the other view out this way. It goes on and on and on. So this is a little bit about where I live, and I just love coming up here and playing in this little pool here with my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old. This building next door is not complete yet. It's part of the same complex, but it's not quite complete yet. So we've been living in this one for about a year now. Okay, so anyway, that wraps this video up. Hopefully you found it useful, and as I say, we'll have more videos about visualization and how you can start using that to get ahead in life. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Aiden here. This video is all about goal setting, which is super important, something that you should do at the start of any project that you're working on. And I use a simple acronym called SMART for goal setting, and the 5 different components are: a goal should be specific, should be measurable, should be attainable, it should be relevant, and it should be timely. So it's really important that you get those 5 things built into your goal when you're building your goal. So let's say your goal is to, let's say you're working on building a profitable business online, right? Instead of just thinking, my goal is to build a business that makes $100 a day, get more specific and build that goal using the SMART framework. So specific. First, let's get specific how you're going to do it. So you might say something like, I want to build a $100 profit per day business from an e-commerce store. That's specific. It's also it's measurable because you're giving a number, right? And we'll have to give a timeline as well in a moment. But it's specific. You're saying how much you want to make, how you're going to do it. So $100 a day using an e-commerce store. It's attainable. $100 a day is profit is very attainable. It's relevant, assuming your bigger goal was to build a business that makes you money online, then that's relevant. And timely, we need to put a timeline on it. So it might be 60 days as an example. So in that case, you might have something like, I will build a business, an e-commerce business that makes me $100 per day profit before the 1st of May, whatever the year is, 2020, 2021, whatever, whenever you're doing that. But you'll put a date as a timeline. And then I go one step further. You want to write that down, write it on a little piece of paper, put it in your wallet, and take it everywhere you go. Or save it as a screenshot on your smartphone or something like this. Put it where you're going to see it all the time, okay? And you want to think about that goal every single day. But make sure you set it up so that it's following that SMART framework, and that way it'll be much more powerful. Hope you find this useful. We'll see you in the next video.
Hey, Aiden Booth here for you with another video. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the power of habits, the power of rituals when you build them up over time. So, something you may have heard of in the past, maybe you haven't heard about it, is that if you get 1% better at what you're doing each day for a year, you will end up 37 times better than when you started. This is compounding improvement. Now, you might not be able to see this, it may be reversed, but this is a graph showing you more or less what happens if you get 1% better each day. So you don't have to make huge improvements. Even with just teeny tiny little improvements, you can get a lot better than when you started with. So our 1%, tiny 1% improvement will make you 37 times better at whatever it is that you're focusing on over the course of a year if you just make incremental 1% improvements. So that's the tip in this video, which is part of the ritual piece of the puzzle. Thanks for listening. Hey, Aidan Booth here with another video for you, which goes into the organizational piece of the prosperity puzzle. Now, the tip that I've got for you in this video is to prioritize. Now, seems like a no-brainer, it seems simple, but when you're faced with a decision, and you're gonna have hundreds, thousands of decisions that you make each day, you need to prioritize the choices that are gonna get you to where you wanna get to faster. So let's say you're working on a business project, maybe you're setting up, you've got the choice between setting up some e-commerce store that you might be building, or browsing some other gizmo or gadget on YouTube, browsing through some app that you might want to add to your store. The thing that you need to do needs to be the thing that's in the critical path, the thing that's going to get you to where you want to get to faster. So if you've got a critical path that's laid out for you, and oftentimes you'll be following a blueprint which falls under the tactical piece of the puzzle, but if you've got a critical path that's laid out for you, then the most important thing for you to do is follow along on that critical path and not get distracted with anything else. You must eradicate fluff. You must focus on only the things that are gonna get you moving forward towards the finish line. A question that I often ask myself when I'm faced with lots of different things that I need to be doing, I ask myself, which of these things that I'm considering doing right now is the most important in getting me to where I want to go? And you need to be ruthless about this, because oftentimes the thing that's most important may be the most boring task. It may be the one that you least want to do, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Sometimes you have to jump in and do it anyway. Okay, so that's my tip for you today. Hope you found it useful. Hey, Aidan here, and in this video today I want to talk about 2 of the 6 pieces of the puzzle, and they are the... Hey, Aidan here. In this video today, I want to talk about 2 different pieces of the puzzle and how they sort of connect up and can work together. So they're to do with ritual and they're to do with psychological. So ritual, what I do in the mornings, every morning, this is part of my morning routine. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning before I get out of bed. I just lie there, it takes a couple of minutes, and I think about 3 things that I'm grateful for. They could be the smallest little things, like the fact that I wasn't cold last night, or they could be big things, like, I'm thankful for the health of my kids or my parents or whatever it might be. So 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 wins that I had yesterday. Now, the wins that I had yesterday could be business related, they could be personal life related, it could be that I got a swim session in, it could be anything, right? 3 wins from yesterday. And then 3 big things, or three things that you want to get done today. So the whole purpose of this is just to get you in the right frame of mind to win the day. So by thinking of 3 things that you're grateful for, it brings the world back into perspective. And think the wins you had yesterday, that puts some more positivity in your mind. And then by sort of resetting and thinking about 3 things that you want to get done today, that helps set up the day ahead, because you've already, instead of just going down a rabbit hole, opening emails or doing whatever else just instead of being reactive, really is what I'm looking to say, is you're being proactive and making a decision about what's most important, what are the things that you want to focus on. So this is a routine, super simple. I've been using it for some time now, and I find it really helps me to get the day off to the right start, because if I don't have that, it's almost like I roll out of bed and then I'm sort of on autopilot. I'm not consciously in control of what's happening. But this allows me to quickly reset, only takes a couple of minutes, and I think it's something that has been quite beneficial for me and you might find it useful as well. So it combines the ritual in that it's a habit that you're building and doing every single day, with the psychological in that it actually connects up and gets the mind thinking about things like gratitude, things like positive things that you've achieved, and importantly things that you're going to do today. So that's my little morning routine before I get out of bed in the morning. That's what I go through. Hope you find it useful. Hey, Aiden here, and in this video today I'm talking about what I call the not yet mentality, because oftentimes when you're building a business like the K1B0 business, for example, you're going to come up against things that don't work the first time and you're going to fail. Okay, it's just a reality. So an example of this might be, you might be opening up your Google account or your Microsoft ad account, and maybe you won't get approved the first time, or maybe it'll get approved and then it'll get investigated or something before finally getting approved. But if it doesn't get approved, it doesn't mean that you have failed in setting up a Google Ads account or a Microsoft Ads account. It just means that you haven't succeeded in doing it yet. And it's a key difference, because failure, if you look at failure as being something permanent versus an opportunity to learn, then you're never going to get ahead, right? The growth mindset allows for you to fail sometimes. In fact, with the growth mindset, you will know that you need to fail. Failing is just part of the process, and you haven't. And when you fail, if you remember that, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you haven't achieved what you want to achieve yet, and you can continue working on it. Okay, so I hope you find that useful. Keep this in mind next time you come up against a roadblock or a hurdle or some kind of temporary failure as you're working through the K1B0 business model. Hey, Aiden here, and in this video I'm talking about the organizational piece of the puzzle, and something that I use to get organized on a week by week, day by day, even month by month basis, and bridge and sort of connect up your long-term ambitious goal with what you've got happening today. So if you're working through the K1B0 you might have the goal of building out your website and having a $500 per day income in the next 12 weeks, because this is a 12-week plan. What are all the action items that you would have to do in able to get to that? So to be able to get to $500 per day, you would have had to have set up a website with Shopify. You would have had to turn on ads with Google, with Bing, or with one or both of them. You would have had to add products to your website. You would have had to, first, before adding products, found those products. That might be a pick for your product, and maybe one that you research on your own. You would have had to start running traffic. So all these different things you would have to do in order to reach that end goal. So that's what this is all about. And I'm not going to try to explain how to actually build one of these. And if you just take a look over here, you'll see that it's a Google spreadsheet. It's got different columns, and each one of those columns corresponds to a week. So what this allows me to do is to connect up, as I was saying, the long-term ambitious goal that I might have with what I need to be working on a daily basis, and then visually see how that maps out over time. So I'm not going to try to explain exactly how to build one of these in this video, but I will provide a link below this video where you can find out more information about how this works and how you can take a crack at building one for yourself. The big benefit for me in doing this is it gives me a way that I can tie those little things that you need to be doing today with the end objective, okay? And it does it in a very simple way. You're building a critical path without all the complication, and it forces you to eradicate fluff and just have the most important tasks in here, so that when you wake up each morning, all you need to do is, I come into my office and the first thing I do is I open this and I have a look at all the things that I've got listed for this particular week, and I can then prioritize. And keep in mind that I would do this after I've gone through having already thought about 3 specific objectives that I might have for the day, which I do when I first wake up in the morning. So I think this is a very, very powerful system, and if you want to up your game with regards to being organized and making sure you're staying on track, getting things done, then you might want to spend a little bit of time learning about how this works and building your own 12-week year. Because when you do this, you will find that you will not forget to do different things, and you will have a deadline week by week for getting different things done. So one of the tasks each week might be to make sure that by the end of the week you watch all the videos and you implement everything that we've taught you in that particular week. That might be one of your goals. Now, it's an obvious goal, right? It's something obvious that you might want to do, but when you actually write it down and get it in a plan, it makes it more real, and it makes it so much more likely that you're actually going to do it. Okay, so as I say, we'll have some kind of a link below this video, around this video, to where you can find out more information about how to build your own 12-week year plan. Thanks for listening. Hey, Adam Booth here, and in this video I want to talk about the difference between being interested in something and being truly committed to something. So when you're interested in something, it's something that you might say, oh, yeah, I like the sound of that, I might do that. And then you're going to do it if and only if and when it's convenient, okay? But when you are truly committed to something, you are going to eradicate any excuses and you're going to be focused on results. So, for example, if you set a goal out to build a Kibo Code business, perhaps a simple way that you could hold yourself accountable is making sure that you do 30 minutes of work every single day. Just 30 minutes a day. Could be the first 30 minutes when you wake up, could be the last 30 minutes before you go to bed, but 30 minutes every single day. And then if that is your goal, and if it's easy to measure, because if you can measure it, then you can hold yourself accountable to it, then you will know if you've truly been committed to that goal or not. And if you've done 6 out of 7 days a week, you've put your 30 minutes in, then you haven't been truly 100% committed. Okay, so the big takeaway from this video is that to understand the difference between being interested in something and being truly committed to something, and that if you really want to prosper and succeed with anything in life, it requires not partial commitment, it requires entire commitment. And this is why we often talk about having few goals and really focusing in on what you want to achieve. And this is also why when we're setting goals, we set them using the SMART acronym that I've discussed in another video, because that will give you something specific that is measurable, and you'll be able to come back to and say, look, have I actually done that or not? So that's it for today. Be interested or be committed. You need to choose, but if you want to succeed, you need to be committed. Hey, Adam Booth here again, and in this video I want to talk about saying no. So one of the curses of entrepreneurs, so related to business, is that when you see an opportunity, you want to jump all over it, you want to take it, you don't want to miss out on anything. And it's not just in the world of building businesses either. Every aspect of life, fear of missing out, FOMO. People don't like to say no. People like to say yes to everything. People like to do more and more and more. But the most successful people say no all the time. In fact, the most successful people say no more than they say yes, because they know that they can only focus on one thing at a time. You can only truly commit to absolutely nailing one thing at a time. So next time you see an opportunity present itself to you, even if it looks like the most amazing opportunity in the world, and it could be anything, it could be an invitation out to a party, it could be another business model, it could be anything in any aspect of life. Just think about whether or not that's going to help you get ahead with what you really want to be focused on, okay? And try to train yourself to keep a laser focus on what you're doing, and by virtue of doing that, it'll become easier to say no to these kinds of opportunities that present themselves to you from time to time, which in reality are in most cases just distractions. If you've already got something that you're focused on, you need to learn how to say no more often. Hey, Aiden here, and in this video today I'm talking about the physical piece of the puzzle, and one particular piece of the physical piece of the puzzle, which is sleep. Now, I know a thing or two about not getting enough sleep because I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I know as well, first-hand experience, that I perform at my best when I do get a good night's sleep, and anything under 7 hours starts to impact my performance. Studies have shown, lots of studies out there have shown that we need 8 hours, okay? So we need 8 hours sleep a night. There's a great book about this, I'm actually reading through it at the moment, called Why We Sleep, and it gets into all of the health-related and scientific studies about why sleep is so important and all the things that it can do for you, and some of the scary things that will happen if you don't get enough sleep over a prolonged period of time. So I think everyone would agree that if you're getting enough sleep, you're going to be more likely to perform at your best versus not getting enough sleep. So look, I know it's not always easy. I know sometimes you might need to make an extra effort to be able to get sleep, or it might not even be possible for you some days. And I fall into that category of sometimes it's just not possible for me, but I do make a conscious effort, and I know that it improves my performance, and it actually has a flow-on effect to a lot of the other different pieces of the puzzle and a lot of the other things that we're talking about here. For example, one quick example, if I don't get enough sleep, then my creativity, it just plummets. I just can't come up with the good ideas that I need to be able to do different things I'm doing in my businesses. Or if I'm not getting enough sleep, I just don't have the willpower to get up and go. Sleep has been, or lack of sleep has been linked to depression and many other illnesses as well. It's scary if you don't get enough sleep. Some of the result of a lack of sleep is actually quite scary. So that's a key part of the physical piece of the puzzle, and I recommend that you check out the book that I mentioned, Why We Sleep, if you want to learn more about it. Thanks.
Hey, Aidan here, and in this video I wanted to give you a bit of an overview to the tactical piece of the puzzle. So what the tactical piece of the puzzle is all about, this is the specific instructions or actions that you might need to take when you're following through on some kind of a process or recipe or blueprint. So say for example, you're baking a cake. You might need to mix certain ingredients in, and it might say 100 grams of sugar. And it might say that you need to add it at a certain point in the process, or it might say that you need to put it in the oven for 20 minutes. That's a tactical step. In business, if you're building out an e-commerce website, it might be something like sign up for a Shopify account as an example. And that's a tactical process. So when we talk about the tactical piece of the puzzle, we're talking about oftentimes instructions, step-by-step instructions about what you need to do to achieve something. And in most things we're doing in life, instructions are available. If you want to lose weight, you could get a gym instructor. If you want to build a business, certainly an online business like the businesses that we build, there are step-by-step instructions out there. For many things in life though, there are actually not tactical instructions, at least not readily available, or maybe that you don't know about. Things like relationships, bringing up children. There's a lot of books though about bringing up children. There's a lot of books about relationships and things you can do. Advice for pretty much every problem out there under the sun, or everything that someone wants to achieve under the sun. So look, that's what the tactical piece of the puzzle is all about, and we'll be getting into more specifics about this in future videos.
Hey, Aidan Booth here, coming to you today from my gym. It's early in the morning, so no one's here. I've just finished my workout, and I want to tell you and share with you a concept called the dip. This is something that Seth Godin talks about in one of his books, and basically with any project that's really worth pursuing, you're going to start off with an idea in your mind of what finished looks like, and this is probably going to be pretty exciting. You're going to get adrenaline and you're going to dive right in. But to get to the finish line, you're probably going to have to travel through some adversity. It's going to be a journey, and you're going to go through this dip. So you start off really high in emotions, and then you're going to hit the grind, you're going to hit adversity, and you're going to be in this dip, this lull. And some people either quit at that point in time, and some people are going to keep going and persevere. And those that persevere, those that have got a clear idea in their mind of what they want to get to, a strong reason why they're doing it, are going to come out the other end stronger for it and have what they originally wanted to get from the project that they started. And this dip can occur and does occur all the time in all aspects of life. It can happen with with parenting, it can happen with fitness. You're running a marathon, 15 kilometers into it, your legs are starting to give out, and you've got to push on through that. And it certainly happens in business. So there are a couple of things you can do. The first is to have a really strong reason why you're doing a project that you might be doing. And the second is something that you can set up beforehand, or you can set this up even during a project. It's better to do it beforehand, but you can also set it up during a project. And this is a quitting contract. So a quitting contract states under which conditions you are able to pull out. So if it's a marathon, your quitting contract might say, look, as long as I've put in the training, I'm not going to pull out halfway through the race unless you get seriously injured. You're not just going to stop because you're short of breath or you're getting tired legs, right? If you're starting a business, an e-commerce business, like the K1B0 Code, for example, you're not going to pull out just because your first or second or third product that you're trying to sell doesn't sell, okay? You might say, look, if I've tested 50 different products and I can't get a winner, then at that point I'm going to pull out, right? And I wouldn't even recommend you do that. You wouldn't have to, you won't have to test 50 different products to find a winner anyway, as long as you're following the system. But this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. Put a quitting contract in place, and you can share this with your accountability group, and just hold each other accountable and say, look, this is what I signed up for, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and this is what I'm willing to do to get there. And I'm going to be willing to blast through this dip and stick with the project until I get results. And I will only quit under certain conditions. It might be financial conditions, it might be health conditions, whatever it might be. But you lay them out from the outset, you make them clear in your mind, you put this quitting contract in place, and you're good to go. So look, I'm going to wrap this video up now, but I wanted to get this concept of a dip across to you to let you know that it's very, very normal. Almost everyone going through any project is going to go through a dip. What matters is how you handle it when you come up against it. Hopefully you find that useful. Check out the other videos and the ones that are coming in the near future. Thanks for listening. Hey, Aiden here. In this video, I'm talking about something that falls into the accountable piece of the puzzle here, and it's measurement, or KPIs. So what gets measured gets done, and what gets reported on gets done almost always, especially if you are reporting to someone else. So there are simple things that you can set up, simple little hacks, if you like, things that you can do to ensure that you make inroads and make progress on any goal that you may have set yourself. So a business goal, for example, if you're building a new business, such as the K1B0 Code, one of your KPIs could be that you want to have done 30 minutes work on your business every single day, or 3.5 hours per week. That could be a weekly time invested KPI. Another KPI could be something like you want to have added 3 or 5 or 7 or whatever it is, new products to your K1B0 Code store every single week. That could be a KPI that you're measuring of yourself, or that you want to, and I should say, not or, but and in addition to these types of things, that you set up and run 7 new ads every single week, that you've set up and optimized, or whatever you need to do on a weekly basis to make progress in your project. Okay, but set these things up as a measurement, set them up as something that can actually be measured. I mean, you either worked 3.5 hours in a week or you didn't. You either added 7 new products to your website or you didn't. That's easy. There's nothing there's nothing grey there. It's either you've done it or you haven't done it. This is the kind of thing that you want to measure. And then you can take this one step further, and we'll talk about this in another video, but you can use an accountability partner. So if you're reporting to someone else, studies have shown that you are much, much more likely to actually do the thing that you've said you're going to do, because it's no longer just you that knows about it. You're reporting back to someone else, you've said you're going to do it. It makes it much, much more likely that you're actually going to do it. So think about some KPIs that you can set for yourself in this business, or in any other project that you may have going on. Write them down, and if you can, share them with an accountability partner. Ideally, your accountability partner will be someone who understands a little bit about what you're doing, and we have the accountability groups inside the K1B0 Code, so hopefully you're participating in those. If you're not, you'll be able to get back into them at another time. But someone who can support you, someone who's going to give you positive feedback, constructive criticism along the way. But key takeaway here is figure out how you can measure your performance, give yourself some KPIs, key performance indicators, and keep track of where you're at. In this video, what I want to talk about is thinking bigger. Now, this falls into the psychological piece of the puzzle. It's all about mindset. And studies have shown that if you ask someone to set a goal for 1 year, they normally overestimate what they think they can do. They overestimate what they're actually able to achieve. But if you ask people to create a goal for 5 years, they almost always underestimate what they're able to achieve in that time. And I've seen this to be the case in my life, my personal life, my business life, many times. And I'll give you an example. Back in 2006, I didn't own a single property, but I was able to buy my first property in 2006. It was a very small apartment in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where I live, and it cost about $35,000. So it was like entry level. I mean, you can't even buy property like that in most parts of the world, in many parts of the world, I should say. But I got my foot in the door and I started learning about more and more about property. And a couple of years after that, 2008, I set the goal of owning outright 20 properties by the year 2020. Now, at the time, I had very little income. In fact, I was in 2006 when I bought my first property, I was unemployed. I had student debt, and this idea of owning 20 properties outright was it was almost illogical. It was almost unreasonable. But because there was a time frame, because I wasn't saying I was going to do it tomorrow, I was going to say in 2020, which was still 12 years away, it made it possible, and I could join the dots working backwards and figure out a plan to get there. And now it is 2020, and we've gone far past that, far surpassed that. But that's just one example, and it's an example of how if I hadn't allowed myself to think bigger, think more long term, I wouldn't have been able to set that kind of objective and set that kind of path in motion. Another one, a business example. So Steve and I, one of the things we do, we have a software company, and we're building a piece of software right now. It's actually live, it's out there in the public, and it helps small business owners. And this piece of software, I would like that to turn into a company that does $100 million, per year. And we've got a roadmap to how, what we would need to do to get that. And if it doesn't reach $100 million a year, then be able to sell it off, that company off, for $100 million. So we've got a roadmap in place over a period of years that would allow us to get there. And we're on track to be able to do that. But if we just said, 1 year from now, what do we want to have? A software company that does $1 million, that's one thing, but that's small in the scheme of things. So the moral of the story here is set aside some time, maybe just 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you need to think about some goals that are important to you. They could be personal, and that might be family related, it might be physical related, like physical challenge. Another extreme physical challenge would be to climb Mount Everest. Not everyone is going to be physically able to do it, but if you were to set yourself a 5 or a 10-year goal that you wanted to climb Mount Everest, assuming you were physically able, you'd be able to do it these days, in this day and age, with all of the different things that are there to help you, right? So anyway, it could be family related, could be personal related, could be business related. If you're building an e-commerce store, for example, you can say, 5 years from now, I want to have e-commerce stores that make me $5 million per year profit. That would be doable in a 5-year time period, or maybe 10-year period, if you feel more comfortable with that. But until you put that thought out there, until you kind of consciously sort of imagine something like this happening, there's no way that it can happen. Think bigger and think long term, and then that will allow you to sort of tie back to what you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, and even that'll tie back to where you would need to be in a 1-year basis to be able to hit those goals. Hey, Aiden here, and today I'm talking about time, and this one falls into the ritual piece of the puzzle. So the question I've got for you is, what can you do to make more time? Right? The answer is nothing, because we've all got 24 hours in a day. Obviously you can prioritize, you can stop watching TV and all that stuff, but there's a simple little ritual that I'm going to share with you that you can put into practice, and I think it's going to help you get so much more done in your day, and it's going to make you feel like you've got more time. And that is to start your day the previous night. And what I mean by this is the previous night, before going to bed, the last thing you do, or maybe it's not before going to bed, maybe it's before you leave the office. At some point the previous day though, make a list of what you want to achieve today or the following day, right? And that list should have just 2 or 3 big things on it. You can put more little action items on it, but normally each day, if you can knock out 2 or 3 big things, that's going to mean that you've won the day, and you're going to feel like you've got more done. Now, when you make that list, you need to make sure that you are including things on it that are going to get you closer to where you want to be. It's easy to fill these lists up with things that are going to make you busy, but as we will speak about in other videos, being busy is not the key objective here. The key objective is getting you closer to achieving whatever success and prosperity is in your project. So when you make a list of action items or a to-do list the previous night, or before you go to bed, or when you close up in the office, do it with this in mind, thinking about the tasks, the things that you're going to be able to do tomorrow to move the ball forward. And that is going to help you feel like you've got more time in each day, and it's going to help you get more things done. Hey, Aiden here, and in this video today I'm talking about getting help. Now, this falls into the organizational piece of the puzzle, and getting help, it can take different shapes and forms. I'm going to give you a couple of examples today about how you can sort of start to easily get help to get you moving forward in your different goals. And the examples I'm going to give you are mainly business focused, okay? But these are things that you can do in lots of different areas of your life. So when I started outsourcing different parts of my business and freeing up time, my business exploded. This would have been back in around about 2007 or so. I was able to get, instead of getting 10 or 15 hours a week done, because I still had a full-time day job at that point in time, I was able to all of a sudden get 60 or 70 or 80 hours a week done. So it was amazing. So my progress accelerated enormously. And not only that, but I was also able to plug where I was weak, which is the other benefit of getting help. And one of the ways that you can plug holes, weaknesses, is by hiring help. Another way is through partnerships, and we'll also talk about partnerships in another video. But the point here is that when you understand what your weaknesses are, or when you understand different elements of the business, it's pretty easy to start outsourcing them or just getting more help in general. So fast forward to today, we've got a team of over 60 different people all around the world that work in our companies. And in any given week, we get 2,500 hours of work done. Now, if I was just on my own, I might be able to squeeze out 50 or 60 if I was working really quite hard at my business. But I don't want to do that. I want to have more freedom, time freedom. And being able to get strategic help in certain parts of the business has enabled me to set things up so that my business grows on autopilot. And it's not just in the business sense as well. This is something that you can apply to your personal life as well. So right now, where I live in Argentina, and I know this is not common in all parts of the world, but where I live in Argentina, we have a person who comes in and helps out in our house a few times a week, and she takes care of not just the cleaning, but a lot of the cooking as well. And my wife and I, we still cook, we enjoy cooking, but it's also nice to be able to have freshly prepared and cooked meals. So this is something that we've been able to easily outsource in our personal lives without having to sacrifice quality or anything like that. And it's something that it's just another example of getting help to free up more time. So that's time that we can, instead of spending slaving away in the kitchen, we can be spending that time playing with the kids. But anyway, I think you get the point. This is something that you should take seriously, and particularly if you're building a business or something like that, consider outsourcing. If you asked me what were the things that I regretted or things I would change if I had to start from scratch all over again, I would have started outsourcing sooner. That would have been one of the biggest things that I would have done differently, is I would have started outsourcing and getting help sooner, because it would have allowed me to grow my business so much faster than trying to do everything on my own. Each project has got different things which can absolutely be outsourced or you can get help with. They don't have to be the menial tasks either. They can actually be quite specialist tasks. And we'll talk about more specialist help in another video. But I think that wraps up and gives a couple of examples of the concept that I wanted to share with you today. So think about it. Think about how you can get help to make your life easier, and how you can get specific help to get you to the finish line and to see prosperity faster in your projects. Hey, Aiden here again, and today I want to talk about speed. Money likes speed. That's a saying that you may have heard, and it's not just money, but it's results in general. Every single day I see people over planning, over brainstorming, and these things are just a form of, in many cases, procrastination, planning, brainstorming. These are things that can make you feel busy, they can make you feel like you're working on the project, but it's action and it's speed of action that gets results. So this is a simple concept. It relates back to opportunity cost as well, because every day that you spend planning or procrastinating or just focused on the wrong things is a day lost. That's the opportunity cost. If you get things done faster, you'll get results faster. And it's about taking action, but not chasing after perfection. There are some things in life where it may pay that you do things 100% perfectly right. But in most things in life, if it's good enough, it's good enough. And I'd rather have something that's pumped out today. I've taken action on something. I've moved the needle a little bit. I've got closer to my goals than to wait another day or another 2 days or another 3 days until perhaps I've got the perfect plan. Because the other thing that happens is work expands to fill up the time that you've got available. And in many projects, especially if it's a project that you're running on your own terms, you don't really have a definitive time limit. But when you start focusing on speed, you'll just be delivering, you'll be getting projects done, and that is where the magic happens. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks. Hey, Aiden here, and today we're talking about something that fits into the physical piece of the puzzle. I think I got that right. And it's drinking water. Now, you may have heard that you need to drink half a gallon, 2 liters, 8 glasses of water per day. And lots of studies have shown that if you actually drink less than that, less than 2 liters or half a gallon of water per day, it starts to physically impair your performance. So I'm talking concentration, alertness, creativity, physical performance as well. Loads of studies have shown this. In fact, don't take my word for it. Go and do a Google search on what can happen if you don't drink enough water, and you'll be quite shocked. There's lots of health benefits as well of drinking a lot of water. So this has been something that, for whatever reason, I've really struggled with over the years. I just I get in the mode, I'm doing work, I'm focusing on projects, maybe I'm out, even when I'm training, I don't drink enough water, physically training. So what I do now is I've got an app on my phone. I think it's called the My Water app or something, but there are dozens of them out there. It doesn't really matter which one you use. And it just has a little pop-up that appears reminding me to drink some water. And then I press a button, I tell it that I've drank my water. And depending on what app you're using, it's got lots of cool little charts and stuff, which will show, the one that I use has got a chart which shows how much water I've drank in the day so far, and how much more I need to drink. So little things like this, little hacks that you can do. You don't need to use something like that, but it genuinely is very, very important that if you want to be at peak performance, you need to drink enough water. So that's the big tip for you today. Aiden here. In this video we're talking about buffer blocks. Now the way that I use them is I set up 2 time blocks of 20 minutes each, and I have them every single day, every work day, and I have them in my calendar. You probably won't be able to see them here, but you can see that there are a couple of lines, one there and one there, and these buffer blocks, these are buffer blocks, and what they are for is this is time when I can just catch up on miscellaneous tasks. Maybe there was an email that came in that I need to attend to, a phone call that I need to make, something that cropped up during the day, and this is where I can attend to those tasks. It doesn't distract my focus from my main objectives, which I've also got planned out. And if you've been through the videos, you would have heard me talking about 12-week year planning system. That's what I use, and buffer blocks are indeed a part of that. So I found that buffer blocks allow me to stay on top of little things that can't be planned for, that email that comes in, the phone call that comes in, something that happens while not distracting me from my main focus. If you're opening your email inbox 7, 8, 10 times a day or more, then you're probably being distractive, you're probably being more reactive than proactive to controlling your day. And I find that buffer blocks are a really simple solution that you can implement. Just put 2 of them in your day, 20 minutes at a time, and these are the things that you can use to deal with those miscellaneous tasks that crop up. So try them out, and I'd love to hear what you think about them. Hey, Aidan Booth here. The video I've got for you today is about something that falls into the tactical piece of the puzzle. Now, it's about hiring and working with the best. So anytime you are hiring outside help, there's always a spectrum of people between which you can hire. So you've got people that are super cheap at one end, super expensive at the other end, and everything in between. And typically we gravitate somewhere in the middle. We want someone who's good enough. And they're probably not going to be the cheapest, they're probably not going to be the most expensive, they're just kind of good enough. But what I've found is that when you hire the best, and the best, by the way, I should clarify, doesn't necessarily mean the most expensive, it just means that they are the best. Okay, maybe they've got the most experience, they're the most qualified, but they are the best. When you hire the best, the results that you get are so much greater than if you just kind of go middle of the road and like it's just crazy better than if you take the very low end of the spectrum, or the least qualified, or the worst person, let's say, for a job. And this is true, I found, in all aspects of life. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I do a lot of swimming. My swim coach is one of the top Ironman competitors in all of Argentina. He goes to the World Championships. And I train personally with him twice a week. And he's got a group that trains with him. And I feel that by being able to train with him and learn from him, I'm so much better than, and my performance is so much better than what it would be otherwise. We recently built a holiday home in New Zealand, and we had a building company that orchestrated a lot of things there. But throughout that process, we dealt with a lot of different contractors, and in some cases, the contractors that really shined, the contractors that really made the difference, they were quite clearly not the cheapest, but they were also quite clearly the best in that the local market had to offer. And they are the people that really gave different parts of the house the X factor and allowed us to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And it's the same in business as well. So let's say you need to run some Facebook campaigns and you're unsure how to do that. Then you could hire a Facebook specialist, and chances are, if you hire someone who's a through and through expert, they know things, they know everything there is to know about Facebook ads, they've got a ton of experience, the cost that you're going to be paying them is going to be dwarfed by the benefit they could bring to your business. I've noticed this also in dealing with lawyers, accountants, property brokers, tax consultants, everything. Whenever I'm able to single out whoever the best people are and go to them, and if I can't afford them, then I go to the next best person that you could afford. Then that is where you will find the path of least resistance in getting specialized support that's going to help you get to your goal. So that's the big message today, is hire expert support and get the best people that you can possibly get to help you. Hey, Aidan here. We're talking about the organizational piece of the puzzle today, and in particular, a hack that can save you an enormous amount of time. It's something that I use every single day without fail, and I don't know, it must have saved me hundreds of hours in the past few months alone, and that is to watch and listen to different content at 2x speed. So one of the things I do, one of the secrets I've got for blasting through a lot of different books is I will buy audiobooks on Audible, and I will listen to them at either 2x speed or 1.75x speed. So I'm getting through a 16-hour book in half that amount of time. Or you can also do this with training videos as well, depending on what the type of the video is, but pretty much for any type of a training video you can do this. If it's embedded on a player, then you can, oftentimes there's a little, like on YouTube, there's a little option to change the playback speed. And if you're on a Mac or a PC, you don't need special tools to do this. I think Windows Media Player and QuickTime, I know QuickTime for sure on Apple, absolutely allows you to speed up playback. Just do a Google search on how to speed up video playback on a Mac or on Windows if you use that, and you'll see how to do it. On a Mac, it's quite simple. With QuickTime, you just have to press a couple of buttons at the same time, and you can speed up playback of any video. So it's pretty cool. But like I say, it has saved me a huge amount of time. It saves me time every single day, which is fantastic. The one tip that I will have for you though is that when you are speeding up playback of anything, you really have to be focused. It's hard to be, listening to something at 2x speed and trying to do something else at the same time. It's quite hard to take notes as well at 2x speed. You do get used to it over time, but it can be challenging, and obviously also with different accents, that sometimes makes it a little bit difficult. Some people speak at a faster speed than others as well, but it's a good hack. It's one that I use almost every single day, and you should check it out. See how much time you save. Hey, Aidan Booth here with another video for you today, and today the video falls into the physical piece of the puzzle, and it's about exercise, and specifically getting 4 workouts of some kind in per week. Now, when most people think about physical workouts, they think about the physical benefits of doing it. So being healthier physically, being healthier, cardiovascularly, and everything that goes along with that. But for me, there are really 2 big wins. Half is physical for sure, but the other half is mental. I get best clarity, I get my best ideas either when I'm doing a workout or after a workout. It gives me that clarity of my mind. It helps me solve problems, and obviously the physical side of it is great as well. The physical side of it gives me more energy, makes me feel good, and just keeps me fit and healthy. It gives me energy that I need to be at my best when I'm working on whatever project that I'm working on, business, family, fitness, or whatever it may be. So my rule is 4 workouts per week. I do 2 of them as swimming, and I do 2 of them as other workouts for the most part. So either workouts in the gym or I do running as well. So I mix things up a lot, and I try to change it regularly so I don't get bored. I find that this is an easy routine to keep when I'm working the routine. If my routine gets disrupted through travel or something like that, then sometimes it's more of a challenge, and I have to sort of force myself to go. But once I get in that good weekly routine of getting those 4 workouts in, everything, all elements of my life seems to work so much better. And I know that this is true for so many other people. If you look at the most successful people in the world, you will see that almost all of them, regardless of how busy they are, have workouts in their weekly regimes. So I would absolutely urge that you look at this too. And it's not one solution for everyone. There's different workouts. You can do whatever you want, but I think the practice of getting out and doing at least 30 minutes of some kind of a workout 4 times per week is only going to have upside in your life. Hey, Aidan Booth here with a video that falls into the psychological piece of the puzzle here, and what we're talking about is outlook. And in particular, you may have heard the saying of, the glass is either half full or half empty. And I'm a big believer in this. I do feel like this is the case. And I feel that when I'm in a negative mindset, when I'm seeing things, walking around, seeing life in general from the outlook of, the glass is half empty, then everything sort of flows on negatively, one thing to the other. When I have a positive outlook though, I see the glass is half full, then that's when I tend to uncover new opportunities. I see things that are positive, and my businesses grow, my relationships improve as a result of that. So right now, for example, we are going through the coronavirus, and there are lots of different ways that you can take this. You can take it negatively, like you're forced to change your lifestyle in many cases, or you can take it positively. So for me, it means I'm having more time with my family because my kids are at home all day, every day, not going to school. But that's a positive. It means I'm not able to go to the gym, I'm not able to go to the swimming pool to do my workouts, but I'm looking at that in a positive note. This is an opportunity for me to change things up, try new workouts. I can still get my fitness fix on a weekly basis. I'm just going to be doing it differently, and that's absolutely fine. So I think it's really important that you have a positive outlook on things. I think it's absolutely critical, and especially in times of adversity and challenge, because that's the thing. That outlook is what's going to allow you to come out the other side stronger. So just a short video for you today, but work on this work on seeing the glass as half full. Every situation, even the negative situations, normally have a silver lining that you can find in them, and that's what you need to focus on. Hey, Aidan Booth here with something that falls into the ritual piece of the puzzle, and what we're talking about is the 10,000 hour rule. This was made famous by a book called Outliers, and it's misunderstood and it's taken out of context by most people who apply it. So the misconception is that 10,000 hours or 10,000 times of doing something makes you an expert at that activity. But what really makes you an expert, what really sees you prosper and excel at any activity is not just accumulating a huge number of hours or repetitions of doing something. It's doing things with an objective of improving. So 10,000 hours of deliberate practice through tasks that are designed to get you to actually improve, that is what gets you amazingly skilled at any task or activity. So as you're building your business, if you are investing 10,000 hours over the space of the next few years to build your business, try to focus on things that are actually going to improve your business. Don't just go through the motions. And I know this is extremely high level and I'm not getting into specifics here, but this is the path to excellence in any project. If you are focused on doing your gym workout, you can just go through the motions, or you can think specifically and critically about each activity that you're doing, how you're doing it, making sure that you've got the right form, the right motion, or whatever it is, the right technique as you're doing that, and you're going to get far, far better results. It's the same with everything in life, from learning languages to raising children to setting up and running businesses. It's the same. Deliberate practice is what makes perfect, not just practice makes perfect. Hey, Aidan Booth here with a video for you today that falls into the organizational piece of the puzzle, and what I'm talking about is the Pomodoro technique. If you do a Google search, you'll find lots of information about this, and this is one quite good little infographic that I found. You probably won't really be able to see it there, but what it talks about is setting aside a focused block of time. Now, for the Pomodoro technique, the way that they recommend that you do it is you set aside 25 minutes of time, and during that 25 minutes of time, you're going to focus on just one task, and you're going to eliminate all distractions, and nothing is going to stop you or interrupt you in that 25-minute time block. Now, at the end of that 25-minute time block, you are going to achieve some outcome. So you want to go into it thinking about, okay, in this 25 minutes of time, my objective is to achieve such and such, okay? Whatever you think that you can achieve in that 25-minute time block. And then at the end of that 25 minutes, you have a 5-minute break, and then you do it again. After you've done 4 Pomodoros back to back, that would be 4 25-minute focused periods with 5 minutes after each one, 4 of them in a row, so 2 hours in total. You would then have a 20 or a 25-minute longer break, and you'd go back and do it again. So some tasks, obviously, you're not going to be able to do in just one Pomodoro, but you can say, look, this is quite a big task, significant task. I'm going to set aside 4 Pomodoros to do it. So you would set 25 minutes, you'd set the timer for 25 minutes, you'd go at it, you'd try to get as much as you could done in those 25 minutes, and then you'd have a 5-minute break, and then you would continue. But again, the idea is to eliminate distractions during this 25-minute period. And for me personally, I find that it works really well. 25 minutes is not a long period of time, but it's long enough to be able to get some things done. So give this a try. Do a Google search for Pomodoro technique if you want to find out more about it. It's a simple little time hack that you can use to work with a deadline to get more work done. Hey, Aidan Booth here. In this video for you today, I'm talking about an element that falls into the psychological piece of the puzzle, and that is to be off when you're off. So what I mean by this is when you're not working on your business, or when you're not working on a certain project that may be a big focus, and you're specifically looking to get downtime, disconnect. It might be like if you're trying to spend valuable time with your family, then disconnect from your phone, disconnect from your emails, disconnect from all these other distractions that may be coming in from somewhere else, and just focus on what you're doing. So it's much like when you are focused on actually working on your business. You should be focused 100% on what you have in front of you. Don't try to multitask. And it's the same kind of discipline that's going to allow you to disconnect better. So when you are off, when you are trying to disconnect, make a deliberate effort to actually disconnect. If you're disconnected for 1 hour, but you're sort of like you're semi-connected, you're not going to get the same benefit as even being disconnected for 30 minutes if you were 100% disconnected. So when you're off, be 100% off and disconnect. Hey, Aiden here. In this video today, I want to talk about what is your why. Now, this is something that falls into the psychological part of the puzzle, and it's really important to have a clear understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. Why is it that you want to start that new business? Why is it that you're starting a new gym routine? Why is it that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing? Because inevitably, you're always going to hit hard parts of the process in any project. I've got another video which I talked about the dip, where you start off making good gains and then you get into this dip and a bit of a lull. And it's the why that's going to get you through that, okay? And a lot of people might say, look, I'm starting a new business because I want to earn more money, or I'm starting a new business because I want freedom. Well, you need to go deeper than that. You need to, and one way that you can do this is actually to ask yourself why 5 times. So why do you want to start a new business? Well, you might say, because I want to make more money. Okay, well, why do you want to make more money? Well, it's because I want to have more money for the little luxuries in life. Okay, well, why do you want to have more money for the little luxuries in life? Well, it's so that I can give my kids the things that I didn't have when I was growing, or whatever it might be. But when you ask yourself why 5 times, you dig down to the root causes, the root reasons why you want to do something. And if you've got that at the forefront of your mind, and if you can really constantly think about why you're doing something on a daily basis and understand that underlying motivator, that'll get you through the tough times. So this comes back to when you're setting your goals, when you're visualizing what you want. It's really this really ties in with all of that. So it's something that you need to be clear on, you need to do some thinking about, and use your why as your burning motivator to get you through the tough times that you will inevitably face in any project. And a tough time might just be not having the motivation to get your running shoes on and go for a run. It could be anything, right? Or it could be something much more specific, like getting through some tough times with running ads to your website when things aren't working. If you can understand and remember what your driving reason why is, that you started the project in the first place, that you want to do this, then you'll be much more likely to come out the other end with a successful result. Hey, Aiden Booth here with a video for you today that falls into the psychological piece of the puzzle. Now, what I'm talking about today is affirmations. Affirmations get a bad rap from a lot of people, and I understand why. I don't believe that if you just sit around, every day telling yourself, I'm an unstoppable millionaire, I'm an unstoppable millionaire. And if you tell yourself that 100 or 1,000 times, it's just going to happen. I just don't believe that that's the way that this thing works. However, I do believe that the things that come into your conscious and subconscious or unconscious mind affect the way that you think. And the way that you think affects your actions. And the way that you act, the way that you behave, is ultimately going to determine the results that you get. Okay, so thoughts impact things and things impact results. So is there some underlying benefit to affirmations? Yeah, probably. I'm not someone that actively practices affirmations, but I do constantly and consciously think about what I want to achieve, okay? And it may not be the same as reading out, I'm an unstoppable millionaire, 100 times, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that any way that you can impact your subconscious, your conscious or your unconscious mind in a way that is positive and going to get you thinking more regularly about the things that you want to achieve, and by virtue of that, get you acting in a way that you need to act or behaving in a way that you need to behave, that is going to impact your outcome. So whether or not affirmations are for you or not, that's my opinion on them. I think the most important thing is that you are doing things that are getting you thinking positively and constructively about what it is that you want to achieve. Hey, Aidan Booth here with another video for you today, and this one falls into the psychological piece of the puzzle. Now, what I'm talking about today is earning it. So the earn it factor comes down to whether or not you are willing and have done enough to really deserve the prosperity that you're chasing. And the prosperity and the success that you're after, it means different things to different people. So the first rule is you don't need to compare yourself to others. You just need to compare yourself to where you are right now and where you need to get to, where you want to get to. And ask yourself if you've done enough. Have you put in enough time? Have you put in enough energy? Have you put enough thought, perseverance into getting what you want? So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say that you want to have a better body, and maybe you want to have a lean, muscular physique, just as an example. Have you put in the time and energy and perseverance into achieving that body? Have you done, over a period of time, have you done a lot of exercise? Have you followed a strict diet plan? If you have done all those things, then chances are you'll probably have the physique that you're after, or a physique that is much more like what you're after. But if you haven't put in that time and energy, then you won't deserve it. And it just comes down to pure physics. And it's the same with businesses as well. You need to put in enough time, energy, and persistence and really earn something before there's any chance that you're going to achieve that thing other than just by dumb luck. But people that achieve success by just dumb luck normally don't maintain that success for a long period of time. People that do maintain success for a long period of time, it's because they deserve what they've got, and they deserve it because they've put in the energy that they need to put in to earn it. So if you're wanting more money, if you're wanting a more successful business, if you want a better relationship, if you want a better body, then first ask yourself, have you put in the energy, the time, the thought, the study, and the practice into actually earning and deserving what it is that you want to get?